All right, so we're going to go over our review process. We do a review once a year, and then we'll also do sometimes quarterly checkups if you're new, or at least bi-yearly. We'll do one every 6 months. The review is when we're going to take a look at how much value you're adding to us. We'll give you a good idea of where you're at, what we like, what we don't like, and what we think could be improved. We're a lot different than most companies, as to where a lot of companies are going to be looking at you on a spreadsheet to see how much money you are making the company, and we're looking at your attitude. Here's the thing though, if you scored really high on all this, you're probably making the company money, and you're probably doing really well and on, or at least on your way to doing really well in our company. So what we're going to do is we're going to sit down and we're going to go over the three categories. If you haven't read The Ideal Team Player yet, get ready, because it's a required read for us. But we're going to start in the humble category. That's actually one of our core values, right? Be humble. And it breaks it down like what humble looks like to us. So do you compliment or praise without hesitation? Somebody with leadership skills, like a natural born leader, is going to take responsibility for their mistakes and give the team the praise when things go right. And we're going to score this on a scale of 1 to 3. We actually allow halves. If we're like, man, they're not quite perfect, there needs to be a little improvement, but dang, they're good, you might get a 2.5. Here's one here. I easily admit my mistakes. I'm going to tell you right now, I will save you some time. If you are the type person that can't own their own mistakes, you are not going to thrive here. If you can take extreme ownership and confess when you make a mistake, learn from it, be coachable where we can talk to you about it, that is great. It's not if you make a mistake, it's when you make a mistake. And in the first couple of weeks and months when you're working here, that is something that me and my leaders are really in tune with, because we know you're going to make a mistake and we want to see how you're handling that. Are you owning it? Are you learning from it? It's okay to make a mistake. I talked about in the values, one of the guys I trust, I trust everybody here. Nate dented my race car, came and told me about it. I did enough research, realized that if he wouldn't have owned it, I would have never known it was him. There was no way to prove it was him. Nobody saw it. And guess what? That was a mistake, and it strengthened the way that I look at him. Trust was developed through that mistake. I'm willing to take on lower level work for the good of the team. If you're the type of person that thinks that once you've been here for a while, you are above other people and you're not going to fold the blue towels anymore because that is above you, you graduated, I could save you some time. It's going to be miserable working for us. I gladly share credit for team accomplishments. I readily acknowledge my weakness. This is a big one. We're in the humble category. A lot of times we'll sit down here with somebody and we'll say, hey, how do you feel you are in this category? And this is where it gets scary for us. If we think they're a 1 in something and they think they're a 3, we're dealing with some arrogance and they're probably not coachable. So are you able to acknowledge your weaknesses? And I can tell you, Matt's one of the top guys here. When we went through this, he was scoring himself lower than what I gave him. And there's only been one person here that's ever scored a perfect score on all of these. It's, if you can get anywhere above a 16, you're doing really, really good, especially when you first started. Another thing we do is we don't do this for the first 6 months. We're going to wait until we've really gotten to know you. There's this honeymoon stage. Everybody puts their front foot forward. We all do it. I do it. The real you is going to come out after 6 months, and then we can give you a more accurate score here. I offer and accept apologies graciously. That's a big deal. Now we're in the hungry. This is if we find out, like, are you a hustler? I do more work than what's required in my job. A good example of this is Tanner. We just hired him like a week ago. And time will tell us if he's on his honeymoon stage. I think that he's the real deal. But I have never seen that guy standing around. You'll show up down in the warehouse and he's got notes. He's taking notes because he wants to remember everything. And if there's nothing going on, he's cleaning. He's always finding something to do and add value. And that does not go unnoticed. It goes noticed. And once we see, like, hey, this isn't just him putting on an act, it's really him, he is going to get compensated for that. I feel a sense of personal responsibility for the overall success of the team. That's a big one. I'm willing to contribute and think about work outside office areas. This one here, we want to reword. we can just take that one out. We want you to come in and lay it all on the table. 8 to 5, we want you to work hard, but we don't necessarily want you to go home and talk about work after hours to where your wife or your significant other, your family hates Autoglass. We do want you to have a family life. That's one of the reasons we're closed on Saturday and Sunday. So don't pay a lot of attention to that one. I believe what we're doing now is we're just giving it a blanket 3. The way I look at this, though, like I take some of the guys down to Autoglass Week. And are they the type person that wants to talk about the company and how to improve it? Or, we might be in Orlando, or last time we were in Reno, or they just want to run and have fun and nothing to do with our industry. Okay. I am willing to take on tedious challenging tasks whenever necessary. This is a great question. And what we've noticed is we had a lot of guys scoring low in this particular one. And this is why this review system is so incredible. When we really got down to it, they didn't feel comfortable making a mistake. So we had to encourage them to make a mistake. We had a guy here that was kind of hard on them when they made a mistake. So in this one, it brought some problems to the surface that we needed to change as leaders, and a couple of those guys that were not really willing to take on something, worried about screwing it up, have actually leaned in, jumped in, and done more. So that wasn't necessarily a character flaw. It was just they weren't comfortable. That was on our end. I look for opportunities to contribute outside of my areas of responsibility. That's a big one. Now we're going to be in the SMART. Now, the way that they define SMART is kind of different than what you and I would think. I think of SMART as somebody with a high IQ. You can be born with a high IQ, right? This is more reading the room, understanding what to say, when to say something. It's not necessarily an IQ. It's how you deal with the people and the team and the room around you. I generally understand what people are feeling during meetings and conversations. I show empathies to others on the team. Are you just selfish? Do you care about other ones? Are you able to notice that one of your team members is behind and frustrated on something that you could help them with? Are you in tune with that? I demonstrate an interest in the lives of my teammates. For somebody to be a leader in our organization, I really want them to high score on this. I'm an attentive listener. If you got a new person, they're learning a whole new industry. They're learning a whole new language. Are they listening to you? Are they being a know-it-all? I'm aware of my words and actions and how they impact others on the team, and I adjust my behavior and style to fit the nature of the conversation or relationship. So we're going to go through this with, like I said, we're going to total all these up in between a 1 and a 3, and basically, if you are scoring 13 or lower on more than one of these, we have a problem. We decided that's usually an uphill battle. If it's your first review, we may coach you, try to get you to a point where you knew what you were doing. Maybe you scored really low on not taking on tedious challenges or tasks because you were scared that you were going to let the team down. We'll probably give you one chance if you're scoring 13 or below on 2. But if the second time around we haven't seen a significant improvement, that's just an uphill battle. Now, if you just scored really low on one of the 3, typically a lot of people are really, really good at 2 of them, and the other one they have to be intentional about. That's okay, but we are going to coach you. If you are scoring 18 to 17 on all 3, you are a unicorn, and I can guarantee you that I am bragging about you outside of work all the time, and I have my eye on you as somebody that could be a potential leader down the road.